You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Get ready. It's time for the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Telling you everything you need to know about the Saints, Pelicans, and a whole lot more.
What's going on, sports family? How you doing? It's Big Q and you're rocking with the Sports Coma on the PRO Media Network. We're coming to you live, man. Sports Coma episode 288. That's right, 288 on the podcast. We're covering the Saints versus the Panthers preview. We got it all for you today. Full and jam-packed show here on the Sports Coma. Gonna break this game down with our stats, facts, breakdown, and predictions. Got interviews we're gonna play for you from Brees, Alvin Kamara, AJ Klein. Gonna hit you with the Saints news and notes of the day. Of course, signings and releasings. Our thoughts on it. We got the injury report coming up for DC. Sports Coma question of the day. That's right, Sports Coma question of the day. We're going to hit you with momentarily. We're going to read the previous question of the day, replies, and all that on today's Sports Coma. So welcome aboard. We'd like to thank everybody, new and established listeners of the podcast, for joining us today, man. And for those who don't know who the Sports Coma are or is, we are a podcast dedicated to the New Orleans Saints news and covering the game as we see it and a lot of other people see it. And we have a great large fan base of people that's just excellent. We don't really like family base. Let's just say that. A family base of great Saints football minds who like to come together and we discuss these topics here on the Sports Coma. So welcome aboard. Thank you for joining us. And you might find out we might be a lot different than most, but that would make us give us our unique flair. So we'd like to introduce and bring DC in on the show today. DC, what's happening, my friend?
It's all happening, and it's going down in black and gold, baby. You know what it is.
DC, man, is a man of few words, bro, but he gets his message across, man. But anyway, welcome aboard once again to the Sports Coma, episode 288, and Saints and Panthers matchup. Now, of course, man, let me tell you something, man. I read an article today from Cam Newton. You know, he was talking about the fact that he keeps a broom that somebody sent to the Carolina organization. Sent it to him. It was a broom after, of course, the Saints swept the Carolina Panthers 3 times last year. 3. And they had to reshuffle the entire team, and we got to take responsibility for that. The Saints, of course, we helped them do what they did. Well, they were doing well up until they started falling through the flow. But he talking about using that as motivation to beat New Orleans. So we'll see if that'll be enough for Cam Newton to make things happen against the Saints. So DC, looking right into this game, man. The Panthers coming into this thing falling through the flow, man. They're 6-7, 5-1 at home. Okay, the Saints are traveling up to Carolina. Saints sitting on a road record of 6-1 away, 11-2. They of course clinched the NFC South last week when they took down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This time around, we can actually get that bye if we knock off these cheesy Carolina Panthers and move them on the side. Now, you know, they're a dangerous team, man. We don't want to take this team lightly. We give respect due. But they have they have some really good offensive pieces. Christian McCaffrey, man, he's their version of Alvin Kamara. And he has a bit more rushing yardage. He does some of the similar things. They try to copycat a little bit, but he leading his team in reception. He got 86 receptions for his team, 700 yards and 6 touchdowns as a receiver, and he leading the team in rushing with 926 yards and 7 touchdowns. McCaffrey is awesome, regardless of how you see fit, and Cam Newton is dangerous. But the Saints defense, man, DC, and I'm going to bring you in this one. The Saints defense, we're not scared of no Carolina team. We done wrangled the likes of Ty Gurley. We done wrangled the likes of Zeke Elliott. We held them in place despite the fact that we lost by 3. But we done seen some really great running backs this year. We ain't scared of no Christian McCaffrey. What this defense going to do? How are we going to stop these Carolina Panthers, in your opinion?
We're going to do what we always do to Carolina Panthers, and that's frustrate Cam Newton. We don't give him what he likes. We have found a way of containing the pocket on Cam and not allowing him to have a crazy amount of yards, of rush yards, which is the catalyst that makes that team go when you think about it. Is his ability to extend plays and to also run out of the pocket that frees up a guy like Christian McCaffrey. We had a lot of experience playing against Cam, and we have our own version for scout team defense of Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara. So the defense has plenty of practice to slow that down. The 2 players that I am worried about are Curtis Samuels and DJ Moore. These are 2 extremely dangerous wide receivers that a lot of times get overlooked, but they always seem to make exciting plays every time Carolina lines up. I know they aren't the most productive team right now, but when they were flying pretty high, these 2 players were in the thick of things, and they seem to make plays consistently every week. It's basically 2 wide receivers that I like, 2 running backs. So when you look at the Carolina Panthers, think of 3 running backs on the field all at the same time. As long as the Saints defense swarm to the ball as they've been doing, play as a unit, and limit run after the catch ability, they shut down the Carolina Panthers because that's what they thrive off of. If you don't allow them to get any yards off the catch and don't bust that little trick reverse play they do with the double wide receiver thing, and keep Cam from running out of pocket, you get the W. It's that simple.
Yeah, containing Cam Newton is obviously paramount. One of the top choices you have to do, options, is keeping him in the pocket as much as possible and also watching McCaffrey. It's going to be a very difficult test because of the mobileness of Cam, and then McCaffrey, very dangerous. And if you mention Samuels and DJ Moore, those guys are blazing quick. It gives them another asset. Then, of course, Devin Funchess is there. We don't have to deal with the tight end. He's out for the year. So, but looking at some of the statistics for the Saints coming into this matchup, per game stats, the Saints averaging 34.4 a game. That's absolutely astounding. Now, they only allow about 22 points a game, and that's continually to drop. Saints defense getting better as every week progresses. They get better and better and better. The Panthers coming into this game averaging 25 a game and giving up 25.5 a game, which explains why out of the last 5 contests, the Carolina Panthers have lost. And total yards, the Saints averaging about 397 yards total, 270 of that through the air, and they're rushing 125 on the ground per game. Carolina coming into this thing, 392 yards a game, 254.5 through the air, 137.5 on the ground. That's damn good. Allowing the defensive statistics, the Saints defense allowing 370 points. I mean, not points, but yards a game. The secondary allowing 292 passing yards. The defense stopping everybody about 77.5 yards a game. You're not running on that front seven. You're just not going to do it. Carolina now, they 367 yards a game. They allow 270 of it through the air, and they do hold you to about 98 yards rushing on the ground. Now, the Panthers' last 5 games have all been losses, but only one real blowout against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 52-21. Now, the rest of those games, they were close games. They lost a close one to Detroit by 1. They lost by 3 to Seattle. They barely lost to Tampa Bay by 1 score, and then they lost to Cleveland by 6. So they've been in these games. They've been fighting in these games. They just didn't finish them. And that's something that we have to continue to move forward on. And now, you heard what DC said about Carolina Panthers. I'm off of my prediction right now, man. I got to. The Saints know what's at stake right here. They can clinch a first-round bye by knocking them Carolina Panthers in the head this time around. They got to go up to Carolina to do it. The Saints are fantastic, 6-1 on the road. Only one loss coming, a fluky cheating loss by the rotten Dallas Cowboys out in Jerry's cheating world with the spy on the sideline. That's what it takes to beat us, and they just barely beat us by 3, by the way. But in the end, I think the Saints just definitely going to get this done. They have no choice but to do it. They're not going to go up there and lay an egg with what's on the line. If you're playing for a Super Bowl, this is where you have to lay the smack down on a team in Carolina that's falling through the floor, and you got to continue. And then you know what's even a sweeter caveat on top of that, DC, is the fact that they'll knock off Carolina, and Carolina is 6-7, and they still have some pitiful hopes of they can. We know they slick side eliminated, but we can literally crush them with a win to drop them to 6-8, man. So let me ask you this, man. We know about Cam. We know about the fantastic wide receivers. We know what our defense it's got to do. My concern here is it took Peyton and Drew Brees to get on the same page this game against Tampa Bay. Wasn't until Taysom Hill's awesome block field goal, which, by the way, he was voted, just to give you a little information, NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, by the way, for that block that lifted the Saints over the Tampa Bay. They basically just energized the Saints after that because they were kind of slumbering through it. They were losing 14-3 in the game. Then when the block hit it, the Saints, when he blocked the punt, the Saints went on a 25-0 run to seal out Tampa Bay. He was given the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week for that block. So with that said, I want to know, in your perception, do you think that the Saints can continue, building on that offensive explosion they had off that block punt? Could we? Because it looked like we went into a lull against Dallas, and then early on against Tampa Bay. Will this continue against Carolina? Have we shook this damn funkiness we had on us?
I mean, they've been continuing to build. I mean, if you watch it quarter by quarter, they came in, even though they had a miserable showing in the first half of the Tampa Bay game, they did do some things well. I mean, they were able to at least move the ball, which would seem to be a problem in Dallas. They couldn't do nothing right. And then the second half, they finally took off, and the momentum changed with the Taysom Hill block. I think it's still a lot of things to be addressed. I think more of it is just based on them kind of going through the motions mentally than not physically having the ability or the talent. So it's just about readjusting and refocusing. And I think the Dallas game was a good loss, and it gave them time to do that. Now you're playing a rival, somebody who always plays us tough, and we always play tough. They are always up for the Carolina Panthers game. Even if we don't have a chance of making the playoffs, we still are up for this game. And Carolina's going to be up for this game too. Big Q, you mentioned them being out of contention. They're not. You have the Vikings sitting there at 6-1 with the last playoff spot. Carolina's only 6-7. So in their mind right now, this is a playoff game. If they win this game and the Vikings lose this week, they leapfrog the Vikings and they're in the playoffs. So Carolina is going to come at us with everything they got. You're going to see some plays maybe you haven't seen all year because, I mean, they got to dump the kitchen sink out of at least starting at this point. It's all on the line. So this will be a very good test for the Saints to get playoff ready and to maybe start a late game, a late season run, because the way the Rams are playing, they lost this week, but, I mean, you can't depend on them to keep losing. They're playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz isn't in that game. So the Rams may very well beat the Eagles. Or who knows, Nick Foles may come in there and do what he did in the Super Bowl. So, but you don't want to, sit around waiting to see what's going to happen with that. You got to go out there and handle your business. The Saints know that. Carolina knows that as well. So you're going to see a hard-fought battle, man. I think this game is going to have a playoff feel to it. But I think the Saints come out victorious, and I refuse to believe that they continue to stumble the way they did in Dallas. But I do not see them blowing the Saints out, the Panthers out 45-10 this game because of everything that's at stake.
Yeah, I don't anticipate a blowout either. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think the Saints are in for a battle here because this team fighting for their playoff life too. So let's not pretend like Carolina is a bum squad and full of garbage time players. That's certainly not the case. They have a lot of talent on the offensive, most certainly on the offensive side of the ball. The defense, of course, is dealing with some injuries. but we respect our opponents. You know what I'm saying? We don't. I don't hate Carolina like I despise Atlanta or Dallas. But Carolina is a team that's been having their struggles, and right now they're really teetering, and we just need to push them all over, push their ass off the edge. Anyway, let's listen to what Drew Brees had to say. We're going to play a little Drew here. Let's hear what Drew has to say about his upcoming matchup here with those same Carolina Panthers. Here's Drew Brees.
When you start with something light, what do you think of Teddy's dance moves?
Oh, the
Bike one?
yeah, it's good stuff. I guess, did you ask him about it? I think the inspiration was guys from his high school. I think his high school team won their second straight state championship. So Teddy was kind of following them. It might have even been this last weekend down in Florida. And those guys were all doing the dance at the end of the game. So Teddy showed me the video. He showed a couple of the guys the video. So I think it caught on. Guys started doing it in the locker room.
What has he sort of added just in terms of like the energy?
Yeah. He's been great. Everybody gets along very well with him. He's a really good teammate. He's a smart guy. He gets it. He understands football. He loves football. So he just, fits in with our locker room. Great.
Drew, you guys went through a somewhat uncharacteristic 6 quarters. Do you feel like you kind of, in the second half against Tampa Bay, kind of refound your
Yeah, we cranked it up. We cranked it up a little bit. Listen, the bottom line is each and every game, it's the same in regards to, establish tempo, take control of the game, get drives going, score points. That's how you build momentum and gain confidence.
Do you feel like you guys have moved into, I guess, the second phase of the season? You completed the first phase. You win the division. You get the playoff spot. Now you're jockeying for, seeding. Now, does it feel like, I guess, a transition to another step or another level, or do you just continue to progress and plod along each game?
You try to climb, right? You try to continue to climb, and keep stacking the bricks, so to speak. Keep building on what we've already established, what we've already accomplished, and yet understanding that each game becomes the most important game, right? Just because there's so much at stake. So we want to continue to play our best football and be an ascending team going into the playoffs.
As far as when the offense was struggling against Dallas in the beginning of the Tampa Bay game, not that there was concern, but it was just how do you figure something like that out?
We got away from our stuff. We weren't doing our stuff. We weren't playing with our tempo. We weren't playing with our sense of urgency. So I think that was the cause of that. And when we realized that, we kind of snapped back into order.
As far as, I know you've been here a long time, so you've seen a lot of records fall. Back in 2008, I think you handed off to Deuce when he set the record for touchdowns by this franchise. One more and Ingram breaks it. Mm-hmm. Is that significant to you since you've been
Absolutely.
here for so
Yeah.
long?
Those are great moments. Obviously, for this organization, for those guys, and feel honored to have been here. I caught Deuce on the tail end, of his career here, but, to have basically been the guy to, hand off majority of those balls to Mark, that's pretty awesome.
Do you see this Carolina defense year after year? They pretty much look the same?
Yeah, it's the same scheme, and even though they've had different they've had a few different coordinators that have moved on to become head coaches, McDermott in Buffalo and Wilkes now in Arizona, and regardless of who's calling the defense, I think the scheme is the same, and yet there might be little nuances. There's little nuances from you.
That's Drew Brees, man, chiming in with his thoughts on the upcoming game against the Carolina Panthers. We're about to hit our first break. When we come back, we're going to finish more of these topics. We're going to hit you with the injury report, the new signings, the stick at the Cam and the Panthers. The Saints signed his brother. Isn't that cold? Also, we got some more interviews from AJ Klein, Alvin Kamara, the Sports Coma question of the day, previous question, all that lovely stuff on the other side of the break. Y'all stay with us. You're rocking with the Sports Coma live. We'll be back.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Boxing, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love. Unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics. And autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Hit the link below and rep the black and gold today. Who that? Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000. Celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, man. We're going to preview, Saints Panthers matchup, Monday night affair going on in Carolina, man. Big game for the Saints. Of course, they already clinched the South. Now they could do 2 great things. They could put the smack down on the stinking Panthers and eliminate them pretty much, turn them a 6-8 team, and reaching for and getting that first week bye. That would be a major step, y'all, toward that bowl. You know what I'm talking about. And wouldn't it be super sweet for the Saints to win the Super Bowl this year? Where's the Super Bowl? In Georgia this year? And the Falcons? It's in the Falcons building. Could you imagine that, y'all? They had that great implosion against the New England Patriots a few years ago. And, of course, we're going to turn around and beat and win a Super Bowl in their building. Man, that'll just put the great cap on the season. But anyway, getting into some more of the Saints news and notes before we get to Alvin Kamara's interview. Of course, to stick it to Carolina, of course, the Saints were responsible for sending that broom up there, and old Cam keeping.
Jordan was responsible for that.
Cam Jordan, right. The real Cam. But guess what? The Saints said, you know what? We're going to do a little something here. We dealing with some injuries to our offensive linemen, Teron Armstead, Michael Ola, big ups to Michael Ola. We were hard on Michael Ola early on in the year because of his play during the preseason, and he really sucked. But, man, he turned it on in the regular season. I got to give a man credit. He's been playing really, really good football. But he had an injury, a high ankle sprain, as the report is indicating. And, of course, Teron Armstead is totally not healthy yet, so the Saints went out and signed Derek Newton, Cam's brother, and now he's coming back. He coming back from a horrific injury that happened to him. He's been away for the game for a couple of years now, and the Saints signed him to a 2-year deal to come here just in time, right, to face his brother for 2 matchups in the next 3 weeks. I just think that's really funny, that the Saints went out and reached out and got his brother. They could have signed any offensive lineman. They could have got any damn offensive lineman, but they went and got Cam Newton's brother. Oh, man, that's just too sweet. But anyway, more news and notes. DC, let's get into this story, man. I want to talk about it, of course. You know what? Let me mention this. Big ups to Boston Scott, man. We lost Boston Scott. I really like Boston Scott, man. He was a local kid from Law Tech. The Philadelphia Eagles went down and swiped him up off our practice squad. We lose Bo Scott. Man, he sent out a tweet and an email saying he was a blessing for the Saints to draft him. Of course, that's a dream for any guy, man, to be from the state of Louisiana, play for Law Tech and get picked up by the Saints. And, of course, the Rotten Eagles pull him off our practice squad. So Bo Scott is gone. But we did pick up another local guy from Grambling State, Mr. Running Back Martez Carter, who's broken a lot of records at Grambling. So welcome aboard to him. Also, the Saints been real busy, DC, bringing in other guys, man, in this whole little affair. Now, the Saints did release Brandon Marshall. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Getting rid of Brandon Marshall. The Saints signed that guy a month ago, and he ain't played not one iota of a minute and didn't catch one ball at all. The Saints released him, and the reason Sean Payton put out for him, which is bull, but he released him and said he had to clear a roster spot for an impending, you got Ted Ginn Jr. coming back, but Ted Ginn is not going to play this week or next week. He's not ready to come back. But then Sean Payton says he is bringing them back to open up a spot for tight end Eric Swoop, who was with the Indianapolis Colts. He's 6'4", 255-pound tight end, mostly a receiver type back. He had not too much to talk about. He got 3 touchdowns and 87 yards in his career so far. He's a guy out of Miami. So, hey, man, Eric Swoop, tight end from the University of Miami. Hey, think about that. This is the third tight end. Third tight end we got from the University of Miami. There you go. See, this man knows. He knows about Jeremy Shockey. He knows about Jimmy Graham. And now we got Eric Swoop, who is the scouting report says the guy is a receiving style tight end. And the Saints have not put him on the practice squad. The information we're receiving is that he's going to be on the active roster because, of course, Dan Arnold is dealing with injuries.
So he have to sit out for a month and learn the playbook?
No, he doesn't have to sit out for a whole month, Mr. Marshall. But anyway, big ups to Brandon Marshall, man. Isn't that cold? The Saints winning even without fantastic talent. Picture this, y'all. Think about this for a second. The Saints had Dez Bryant here. He got hurt in practice, right? Okay, a week or so later, we signed Brandon Marshall, and Brandon Marshall was supposed to come in and be the big red zone target. Even Sean Payton said that. We anticipated it. I don't know if that's ever been done on the Saints at any point in the history of the Saints organization, most certainly under Sean Payton's guidance, that they ever signed a guy with such a prolific resume as Brandon Marshall and then sign him for a month and he don't do one snap for you. I mean, that's just really, really weird to me. But you guys chime in. I know you guys have some comments on why you think it went the way it did. Maybe he wasn't picking up the playbook fast enough. I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing. But you guys chime in and let us know what you think about what's going on. DC, what do you think about some of the Saints signings that they currently went over this past week? Quite a few of them. Which one to you it seems more interesting?
I think Martez seems more interesting. He's basically a Mark Ingram. I ain't gonna say clone, but his running style is very similar to Ingram. His running style is very similar to Ingram, and I see him busting a lot of breakaway touchdowns, man. I don't know what the swoops thing. I mean, we hyping it up with the whole Miami thing and all that, but I really don't know. I don't remember seeing much of him with the Colts, and I don't know what to expect from that. But Martez being a local, you got to watch a little bit of Grambling State, man. We all know about him down here, so congratulations to him being on the team. Sad to see Bo Scott go, though, man. I didn't really care about Brandon Marshall leaving. But I'm very sad to see Bo Scott go. A guy that really wanted to be here. I think the Saints did want to keep him, but they were so jammed up with the way that they activate and inactivate people on their roster. I guess he wasn't the guy this year. They didn't deem him ready playbook-wise, but look out for that guy to do things with the Eagles, man. They definitely going to use him. He's basically a Darren Stroles clone almost, and he's going to go get to sit under Darren Stroles for the last 3 or 4 games of Darren Stroles' career because he's supposed to be retiring this year. But we're going to see what Martez do, man. And this offensive lineman that we got, Cam Newton, little baby brother, bigger brother, man, I think he going to give us some tips on Cam, yo. Like, look, I used to block for him. This what he like, this what he don't like. Cam talking about he want to return that wine and that broom to Cinder. Nah, you keep that, player. Your brother done sold you out, man. Just know, we said it here first at the Sports Coma. That's why y'all gonna lose.
Real, I just find it hilarious, DC. I just think that's funny, man. The Saints have 3 games left in the regular season, 2 of which against the Carolina Panthers. And right before they have the first matchup with the Carolina Panthers, they signed Cam Newton's brother, to come and play for him. That's hilarious to me. But anyway, the Sports Coma question of the day, we're going to hit y'all with that very popular Sports Coma question of the day is, will the Saints sweep Carolina again this year? I mean, that's a fair question. Y'all answer it. Will the Saints sweep Carolina again? We got them twice in 3 games. That's really unique, but can the Saints do it? Can they sweep them again? Or better yet, better question is, will they do it? Will they sweep the Carolina Panthers this year? Put your comments in the comments section, and we will read them on the next show. Coming up next for the Saints, we got a little bit of information before we play Alvin Kamara's thoughts on the upcoming matchup against Carolina. We just got an NFL report saying that the Saints cut Eric Swoop. He just swooped out of here. So
this morning that we signed him, and later on the day he got cut.
So Eric Swoops, the fastest he swooped in is the fastest he swooped out. So that's a little bit of news to hit y'all with. But anyway,
what? This is the Saints, y'all, so he could be signed again by tomorrow.
Hell, this the Saints, y'all. Brandon Marshall could be signed by tomorrow. Brandon Colby even, sheesh. But anyway, here's Alvin Kamara with his thoughts on the upcoming game. Here's Mr. Kamara.
I mean, defenses react differently. Yeah, I mean, even last week with just a little end around play to me, I mean, it looked like an inside zone play to Mark, and that defense is keying on that, and then it frees me up. And even just running that, and then me coming out of the game and Mark being able to get that touchdown. I mean, it's a lot of different looks where us being on the field, we benefited from it. Both of us benefit from it.
It seems like you've done a little bit more of it, and it has been pretty effective this year. Is that just something that you just yet another wrinkle that defense?
Yeah. I mean, it's something we added in. I feel like it helps us tremendously. So I'm asking put me in motion. Like they might follow me this play, they might follow me that play. So I mean, I think it's beneficial to our offense, and it's a decoy.
Alvin, you guys have such a unique relationship off the field, you and Mark. Mm-hmm. Why is that? I mean, it seems like you guys are 2 different places in life. He's married with kids, he's young and single. I mean, but you guys seem more like brothers than anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's the way it happened. I don't think it's a thing of where we're just teammates. Like you said, I think it's like a brotherhood where we're close. As close when we leave here as we are when we're here. So it's just like I said, since I've been here, that's helped me a lot since I've gotten into the NFL. And for him to be at the same position, different places in life, but definitely just as close as anyone anywhere.
Where did that come from? Because I mean, you 2 guys are playing the same position, competing for touches, and all kind of. Sometimes that can turn contentious.
Yeah, I think it's just a genuine care and I think support for each other. He wants me to do good and I want him to do good. I don't know. It is what it is. Because I had thought about it before, 2 running backs, 2 people competing for the same position, same touches. But we don't look at it like that. We just look at it like as long as we both know what we need to do, the team will be successful.
As far as
Alvin Kamara, y'all talking about his relationship with Mark Ingram, and man, this is a great relationship because it's a great balance the way Sean Payton handles it, man. He does a terrific job, man, to be honest with you, of making sure Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram get the right amount of snaps, and it's usually right around the same amount of snaps. One to have 15, one might have 12, or vice versa. And then the cool part about it is, let's say Mark Ingram gets going and he starts doing he busting through holes and dragging people like he did against Tampa Bay. Then Sean Payton starts to ride that hot hand, and even if he dialed back on Alvin Kamara in the running game, he still employs him out in terms of the passing game, as he's one of the top wide receivers for the Saints. So it's just a unique circumstance that the Saints have with these very talented backs, and it works well. And then the cool part about it is, we know Mark Ingram is among a handful of Saints right now that's contracts are coming up due. And the reality is, if you look at what the Saints, what Mark Ingram is going to bring to the table coming up in his free agency period. Of course, he missed those first 4 games, and that kind of brings back his value in terms of what he can command, as opposed to if he was balling out of control those 4 games and he had more the ridiculous contract. Remember, he switched agents and all that nonsense, but that suspension could actually help out in the Saints' favor. It could keep these backs together. I don't foresee Mark Ingram leaving that symbiotic relationship him and Alvin Kamara have with the Saints offense. You'd be absolutely mad, or if they threw a shitload of money, excuse my French, at him to be able to stay, to go somewhere else. I'm expecting Mark and the Saints to make something happen, to come back, and it's probably going to be a cap-friendly deal to help New Orleans, because I wouldn't go anywhere if I was him, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's what Alvin Kamara, his thoughts on the game. And looking ahead, man, the Sports Coma question today, I'm going to hit y'all with this one. Again, it's, will the Saints sweep Carolina? Y'all let us know what y'all think about it. Will they handle business against Carolina? Another interesting statistic I want to throw at you guys dealing with the Saints defense. Let me just have to say this, man, because we had a lot of people out there. They talk about the Saints offense, but they just disrespect the defense. And like we said, the previous show and the previous show and the previous show and the previous show and the previous show before that, if you listen to Sports Coma, you know what time it is the fact that the Saints defense, the front seven, is outstanding. I mean, absolutely outstanding. Cam Jordan has stepped up. His play is out of worldly. Sheldon Rankins with the big man shimmy shoulder shake, man, he's playing, he's balling out of control, and he's tearing up the interior of the offensive line. Cam blitzing from the outside, and these guys are really meshing together. And of course, even Tyler Davison has elevated his game. Daniel Onyemata has stepped up hugely. Alex Okafor, even though he's not coming out of the world, blowing your way with the sack totals, but he's coming in there and making a contribution. Davenport is showing up big and precious. Even though you might not see Davenport getting those sacks, you can look at the footage and see Davenport is back there in that backfield, causing pressure, forcing the quarterback to move around where he don't want to move. And of course, the front seven with DeMario Davis, AJ Klein, Alexander Anzalone, and even you've throwing guys like Manti Te'o, who's not active right now. But the Saints front seven have been absolutely amazing, and the Saints, credit to them, they actually fixed the secondary while they were moving. They didn't wait to the offseason to say, we're going to do this. They did bring in Pat Robertson. A lot of people forgot they signed Patrick Robertson, who's out for the year. But remember, the Saints didn't stand pat when they lost Patrick Robertson due to that injury. They also went out there and they made some stuff shake. They got Eli Apple. And I just want to give you guys some statistics for those who might not know. All you great Saints football brains out there, y'all guys already know. So you could just kind of pin this in another feather in your hat. But I just wanted to let people who wasn't aware how good the Saints defense has been playing over the last several weeks, you got to know this information. Let me share it with you today. The Saints have quietly been playing some of the best defense in the NFL over the past 11 weeks. They're ranking second in the NFL in points allowed per game. Let me say that all again. They are ranking second. The Saints defense is ranking second in the NFL in points allowed per game over that span. That's over the last 11 weeks. 18 points a game. The defense is holding people to. That's first, and then they are first in run defense. They're holding them to 75.5 points per game. We already know that. But did you know they're second in sacks? And they tied for third in takeaways. They're second in sacks with 35 sacks. Did you know that? Most of y'all do. Some of y'all don't. They're tied for third in takeaways with 19. And then they're eighth in total yards allowed per game with 327.2. Now, all that's terrific. That's over the last 11 weeks, and they continue to get better. So all those people out there that want to poo-poo what Eli Apple is bringing to the table. Listen, man, you got to give those guys credit. You got to give Von Bell credit. You got to give Marcus Williams credit. You got to give Eli Apple credit. Marshawn, I don't have to say nothing about Marshawn because he always get his credit. But biggest of all in the secondary, who you got to get super credit to, is P.J. freaking Williams. P.J. freaking Williams is balling for the Saints right now. I don't know what happened. I don't know who told him what, but P.J. Williams is playing the best football of his career with the Saints right now. I just got to give it to him, man. You know, and I pick P.J. Williams up and slam him all the time on the show because, you know, I say he got poor technique. He don't follow the ball. He don't look back. He always getting beat. He always getting, you know, he always out of position. He always grabbing the man and holding. He lead the team, all that kind of stuff. We know about all that stuff. But P.J. Williams, man, I got to give credit where credit due. You can't keep riding the man if he's doing the right things. You know, you can see him improving. P.J. Williams, man, I got to give him credit. He's stepping his game up in a major capacity, and who would have thunk it? But big ups to the Saints defensive personnel on defense. Dennis Allen fitting everything and moving everything around. Looking at Aaron Glenn, who's doing a great job as well. So, man, we got a great group of football coaches to go with our players, man. And I'm just really happy for the New Orleans Saints fan base and us, man, because the Saints are 11-2. They just clinched the South for the second consecutive year. One more win against Carolina gets us a bye in the first round, y'all. Did you hear that? That gets us even closer to that bowl that we was denied last year. You hear me now? And we might have lost to Dallas, but I wanted Dallas to win like they winning. You know why? Because I want to get a shot at them in the playoffs where it means something. That's what I want. I mean, that's just, I'm a little petty with that one, but I won't get their butts down here in the Superdome here, so we can get another shot in the playoffs when they count and break their heart again. That'll put a cap on top of getting the Super Bowl win in the Falcons dome, you know, and making their dome our home. They damn sure couldn't do it. But anyway, listen, man, I'm just happy, man, here. And before we got one more interview we're gonna play for you in just a minute with Alvin Kamara. But remember, AJ Klein. But remember, y'all, we want you to answer the Sports Coma question of the day. And the Sports Coma question of the day is pretty simple. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about the Saints. Will they get it done? Will they get it done against Carolina? Will they sweep them? Now, we swept them 3 times last year. Will we get it done this time around? Will we get it done? And that's the great thing about it. So, see if we got this Cam. Look like we might not have AJ's interview. Okay, we're just saying that we don't have his interview. Okay, guys, well, let's move on. And more news to get you with the Saints. Of course, we told you about the injury to Michael Ola. He was placed on the injury reserve. That's brought in Newton. We told you about the swoop signing and all that kind of stuff. Of course, another thing to make mention of is the special teams. The Saints have been playing absolutely great on special teams. The kicker, Will Lutz, man, what could you say? The Saints didn't have a kicker. They had different kickers for the last 11 seasons on Sean Payton. We finally get this guy, and we got to send some flowers or roses or something up there to John Harbaugh, who was the guy responsible of telling the Saints, saying, hey, man, we got a guy down here. He couldn't beat out Tucker, who helped us out this year. You know, of course, Justin Tucker, he couldn't make the extra point there. He couldn't do it, but the man said, listen, we got a kick up here, and ever since we got him down here, man, we had this guy, and this guy's been terrific for us. So, I mean, he's up for Pro Bowl looks, and I hope Will Lutz get it. He's been terrific the whole season for the Saints. Thomas Morstead, to me, is the best punter in the league. He should be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. He's terrific. And then you add the great player of Taysom Hill, who just was NFC's special teams player of the game. Just the Saints, man, riding high. What can I say? But look like the guys do have the interview. Here's AJ Klein with his thoughts on the upcoming game against his former team, the Carolina Panthers. Here's Mr. Klein.
You were in that locker room a few years ago with Carolina. This is, I don't want to call it a must-win game for them, but their backs are definitely up against the wall. How dangerous of an organization and Cam can they be in a game like this? Very dangerous. I think you look at Cam, he was MVP a few years ago, and he's just a dual threat. He can run, he can pass, he can do everything that they ask him to do. So, and they have a number of playmakers, DJ Moore, McCaffrey, and you just go down the line. Obviously, they've had a little people in and out on the offensive line, but you can't sleep on a team like this because I know they're dangerous and they have a great defense as well. So
Good. Asking Adrian, I don't know if somebody asked this before, but defensively, I mean, these guys, Christian McCaffrey, how good he is, and how tough they are kind of to guard. I mean, does it help practicing the guy against a guy like Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, I think going back to training camp and getting, we don't necessarily get to go against Alvin all the time during practice through the season, but definitely very similar players get out in the route and very shifty when they get the ball in their hands. So we're going to have a challenge with McCaffrey. I think he's on the field for about 95% of the snaps per week, so they feature him in a lot of different ways, whether it's running, passing, screens. I mean, they run him up the seam, they put him on that one and run him on slants and go balls. I mean, he's everywhere, so he's definitely a person that we have to take into account and watch for, and obviously excited to play against him.
With the division title already kind of in hand, what are some of the things that the team is kind of working on, trying to make sure they kind of get wrapped up with only 3 games left in the regular season?
Well, we have plenty to work on, and every single week you kind of break down the game and see where you can improve and what you can do. But these games for us, just because we have the South clinched, these next 3 games are very important for us as far as where we want to be heading into the playoffs. So we just have to take care of business one game at a time, and they're going to be really tough games. Obviously, to play division opponent 2 times in 3 weeks is challenging, and then to have Pittsburgh as well, even though they've lost like 2 in a row or something like that or whatever it is, but they're a dominant football team and have been for a long time. So we just have to take care of business one game at a time, but obviously the goal is to win.
That's AJ Klein chiming in on his thoughts about this upcoming matchup against his former team, the Carolina Panthers. And, of course, this guy played there some years there, and he was a player. And we got a few Carolina Panthers guys that's coming over here that want to handle. And we got to give them a lot of credit, too, because when AJ Klein and guys like Ted Ginn Jr., who was there, remember that? AJ Klein and Kurt Coleman was the latest guy that made the exodus from Carolina to New Orleans. And they share a lot of the defensive personalities and all this kind of stuff, and the little hints and gestures on how to beat a team like Carolina. And, I mean, if you're a football fan, you know that their information, their input that they gave to when they brung over from Carolina was responsible for handing their asses 3 straight losses in a year. I mean, you beat them in the regular season twice, and you finish them off in the playoffs. And after that, if you remember, Carolina fired people. They got rid of all kind of stuff when a team dominates you like that. They even, you know what, by the way, remember, we beat them so bad, they changed owners. You know what the owners had, you remember that stuff? We ran his butt out of there. Of course, it was something else. But when we dominated them, they've just changed and cut a lot of stuff out. So right now, the Saints, I just think the Saints have that edge, man, period, on Carolina. But, I'm going to just leave that on and move to our next topic of discussion. Going into the replies section of the show now. We're going to replies from the previous Sports Coma question of the day, which was, will the Saints win all of their remaining games? We'd like to thank all our commenters for chiming in. Remember, when you reply to us here, we always read the replies, as many as we could on the show, just to let people know that we are listening to what they say, and what they say is important. So here's the first commenter, NT Prizing, chiming in saying, the way Carolina and Steelers have been playing, the Saints have a great chance of doing so. They get healthier, and the offense plays elite with the dominant defense. Saints should sweep the rest of the regular season. Bears winning against the Rams gave us back the lead in the NFC. We must do everything we can to keep it. Also, we need to be better prepared for tougher defense going to the playoffs. Thank you, NT Prizing. That's what I'm saying, man. Enterprise and thought like that. That's why we love our sports family, man, because they always come up with great commentary like that. And NT Prizing is right, man. I remember they had a couple of people in the Sports Coma family, man, that was saying, oh, man, the season over with, Q. Oh, Q, the season over with, big brother. We ain't nowhere in the world the Bears are going to beat the Los Angeles Rams. We're not going to be able to catch them. And the only way we're going to the Super Bowl is if we have home field advantage. That's the only way we're going to do it. Well, guess what, pal? Guess what, family? Guess what happened? Guess what happened? The Bears handled business, and not just handled business, they smacked the hell out the Rams. The Bears did us a favor. They beat the Rams. It put the Saints in prime real estate here, baby. That's what I'm saying about the NFL. That's why people follow the NFL. You don't know what the hell going to happen. That's why I always say never say never. Never say never. But anyway, let's go to our next comment. Nick Marcotte chimes in. What's up, Nick? He says, we better. And when do nobody, let me read that again because I screwed that up. He said, we better. And when we do, nobody stopping us in the dome. Nobody. Who that? Who that to you, Nick? Appreciate the comment, my man. You got a lot of energy in that. Nick said, ain't no way we going to get all these wins here. Tim Russ chiming in. What's up, Tim? He says the Saints can win the rest of their games if the offensive line block better. Watching Andrews Pete get knocked on his butt by Vanderich on the 4th down play at goal. I knew you would have seen that. See, I know you would have seen that of all people. You're a former lineman, so you know what time it is. Vanderich on the 4th down play at the goal line will not help our chances of winning. Watching Bushrod let Pierre-Paul whiff by him untouched to make a tackle on Mark Ingram behind the line of scrimmage will not help our chances of winning. They got to get better. Carolina front seven is no slouch. Their linebacker group, to me, will be the best we'll face this season. I expect Drew to have a field day against their secondary. That's the Panthers' weakness. Our defensive line need to play gap assignment and containment plan against Cam Newton. The last 2 games, QBs have had some success running against us. Prescott and Winston rushed for 40 yards against us. May not sound like a lot, but most of Dak rushing yards came on a critical 3rd down run. Let me see here. Excuse me. 3rd down in the 4th quarter as he got the 1st down to keep the ball out of the hands of our defense, which was a damn good run, by the way, Tim. He broke 2 tackles to get that 1st down. He was determined. If we would have just tackled his butt, that would have killed the game right there. But that just showed that he was determined. Jameis Winston should have been sacked more than 4 times, but he was able to break tackles like he was a running back. As far as the Steelers, Big Ben can scramble too. I definitely see a high-scoring game against them unless our front seven stuff to run and sack the quarterback. As stated earlier, we can win all the rest of the games if we correct our problems. Who that? Who that to you, Tim? Appreciate the really smart commentary and the former offensive lineman breaking down gap assignment, man. See, that's what the kind of football minds you got here, man, on the Sports Coma. People that know what the hell they talking about. Some of these guys so smart, man, you could put them up there and take idiots like Ryan Clark down off of ESPN that says that Drew Brees looked like his attorney. But, like I said, man, you're absolutely right, Tim. You're absolutely right, man. I got to give it to you. That was really good. The bottom line is the Saints have definitely, when they put that, you can't do that, what you did to Dak. You can't let, if you can't tackle Dak Prescott, you damn sure can't tackle Cam Newton. Let me just put it to you like that. Cam Newton is one of the toughest quarterbacks to bring down, him and Big Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys are difficult. Them guys, you can have 3 guys pulling Cam Newton down. He'll still throw a 40, 30-yard pass for a completion. I mean, when you get him, you got to get him on the ground. And even if some of the Saints would buzz around him and do the group tacklings that I've been seeing them doing lately, meeting there like Davenport and Cam meeting for a QB sandwich, that kind of stuff. Whatever it got to be done, you can't allow him to slip tackles and kill you on these little sneaky rushing plays that he usually do, because he'll do it, man. He'll definitely do it. So, yeah, we're going to look out for that, man, and thank you for commenting, Tim. DJ Austin, what's up, DJ? He says, I want to say yes, like I said, I'm worrying about Pittsburgh, though. He worried about the Steelers and maybe a game against Carolina, but for the most part, yes, I believe. So, who that? Who that to you, my friend? DJ, one of the best ones out there. He's chiming in as well, letting you know he's a little worried about Pittsburgh. DJ, I share your sentiment on Pittsburgh, but guess what, brother? We have Pittsburgh down here in New Orleans, brother. Not up there in the cold, but in the warm and comfortable confines of the Louisiana Mercedes-Benz Superdome. We got them down here. That's why I'm not too much worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers, baby. We got them in New Orleans. Going to our next question, Lance Kelly chiming in. He says, yes, we will win out. The defense is playing lights out, and the offense will get back on track. Lance, big ups for you, my friend. Thank you for commenting. Lance is he's being positive. He's being optimist. Now, like I said, I seen a little funk that the Saints offense went on against the Cowboys, and then some of it carried on in the first half of the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But ultimately, they were able to correct the ship behind that block punt that kind of electrified everybody into being. Whatever the case may be, sometimes we need plays to kind of shock us back to life. We was dead on the bed. We was in the hospital. We was laying there. Ain't no pulse offensively. And all of a sudden, the guy put the zappers on you and turn them on, and then that's what happened with the Saints with Taysom Hill was able to electrify the Saints as a unit, and they just couldn't be stopped. They just ramsacked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They ain't even have a chance. So I'm agreeing with you, my man. The offense is back on track. The defense is playing lights out. I gave you the statistics earlier, man. Feel free to share that across the line. Let them know, man, the Saints defense is back in great capacity. So big ups to you, Lance, for chiming in. Brandon Christian chimes in. What's up, Brandon? Been a while. I ain't hear from you, my man. He says, depends on none other than Sean Payton. If he sticks with the run game and keep opposing defenses on their toes, we will be dominant. Our team's success depends on the run game historically, and getting Armstead back should help. I also believe that Ted Ginn will be a difference maker. Who that? Big ups to you, that Brandon. Appreciate it. Armstead, he, kind of getting conflicting injury reports on Armstead and when he will be ready to go. I'm not certain. Ted Ginn Jr., they're saying he's a week away or maybe 2 weeks. But, even if we can get these guys, if we can get Armstead a little bit more rest and Ted Ginn gets ready to go right when we get that last 1 or 2 games getting ready for the playoffs. Because really you can see having those guys healthy and ready for that playoff push. The Saints lock up a bye against them. I'm not saying take your foot off the pedal here, but that does provide you a little wiggle room with Armstead and Ginn, in my opinion, because everybody else has been playing well. So hopefully it all works out. The defense is definitely playing better, which means the offense doesn't have to be balls to the wall, so to speak. So right now the Saints are peaking at every level of the team, and I agree with you on that. Thank you, Brandon, for chiming in, my friend. We got 2 more commenters. Sean C. What's up, Sean? Sean chiming in. We are more than capable of winning out. The schedule looked a lot tougher when the season started, but the Saints have proved they're the top team. As stated by others, we need to get that run balance back that has made us dominant, and we will win out. So there you go, my man Sean C. chiming in. He says, man, we will win out. And you're right, the balance. The Saints offense has that balance, and that was what they struggled with. Remember, the running game wasn't getting what it was supposed to get. Then all of a sudden you see the running game start. It happened in the Tampa Bay game, if you think about it. Remember, we had like 2 yards in the first half, then 90-something yards in the second half because of the running game. And then Mark Ingram got behind his pads and dragged that tackler where he was holding on to his shirt and that kind of. You seen Sean Payton was so impressed by that run. He went over there and slapped fives to Mark Ingram 3 times in a row. It's just amazing, man. When the Saints running game, and like Alvin Kamara spoke about it earlier, this segment, speaking about the friendship or I guess you could say the harmony or the balance, the synergy between him and Ingram and how the system operates for the Saints. Those guys are absolutely tremendous, man. And I just see, if you look at their body language, man, they've been through hell in a handbasket last year, going through that stuff what happened in Minnesota. And this team been on that. They're not going to let a letdown like that happen this year. I'm sorry. They're not. This is a different level. This is a different team. Thank you, Sean, for chiming in, my friend. Appreciate you. And then our final commenter is John Lister. He chimes in. He says it depends on Carolina's 0-5 is hanging on their head. We got to play tough, though. It depends on Carolina. He said that 0-5 is hanging on their head. And remember, though, listen, John, and I appreciate your comment, my friend. Remember, I just went over the last 5 games that Carolina lost to. Only one of those games was a blowout game, by the way. They got blown out 52 to like 21 or something like that. But if you go back and look at those games, the last 4 games, all those games were all competitive games. They lost a few of those games by 3 points, a couple of those games by like a score. So they were in those games. Even the game with Cleveland, they lost that game. They just didn't finish the game, but they were competitive the last 4 games. That's what I'm saying. They get right there. Now you got to remember too, this team is desperate and they're right at the precipice of being eliminated. With the Saints win over Carolina coming up this week, they eliminate the team. They stop them. They another NFC foe bites the dust, and I think the Saints can get it done. I know the Saints can get it done. But anyway, man, let me tell y'all something, man. We appreciate y'all for chiming in today on the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. And as always, man, if you enjoy the show, feel free to go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/the PRO Media Network. Let me say that again. www.patreon.com/the PRO Media Network. You can go there and make a donation like my man Sean Sims. and you can join the family. You can help out with great, funds. You can help us out. And if that's not all you can do as well, you can join our social media pages. The link's in the description section below. Also, you can join and help our sponsors. You can buy services or products for our sponsors at a discount. It's a win-win for you. So from me, DC, and the entire crew at the Sports Coma, thank y'all for joining us. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. NewFrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. NewFrog.com has up to 70% off on some products, and you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. NewFrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, That's www.vapordna.com.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.